Well, it took me some hours, I mean hours, to determine what I should wear to come and see Seun Kuti. Because I looked at my head, serious gory, and I remember his own head. In fact, there's no doubt about that. I said, okay, what should I wear? I mean, okay, let's just wear short sleeve. Maybe that will look a bit sporty enough. If you look at him, you know what I mean. I'm talking of the legendary Seun Kuti, who's my guest on Soni Irabor Live today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again, Baba. We've been doing this for 20-something years now.
By the way, your voice is remarkable.
Thank you.
I think whatever we say, there's no wrong, no right, nothing except the clean, clear voice of Seun Kuti.
Yes, sir.
Your father, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, left a legacy that I see all of you enriching and displaying. Tell me what you see about his legacy.
Well, you know, Fela's legacy is, for me, it's like two-pronged. You know, there's the musical legacy, you know, and also I believe that there's the political legacy, you know, of the man. You know, both are intertwined, but at the same time, there's I think a personal touch in the political side for me. You know, for me, I really, really admire my father for his political stance. You know, to be able to use this.
That as well.
Yeah, well, because it's something I learned from him. You know, and I think he learned it from his mom too. And
there's a movie by Bolanle Austin Peters.
Yes.
Fumilayo.
Yes.
That's your grandma, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, just go.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I was just saying, like, so for me, it's more like this, to be able to, I feel lucky enough to be raised in a home where it was instilled in me from a young age that my talent is tied to my nation's development. I think that is something that is missing from the education of many young people. And everybody, not only young people, old people, every man, women in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole, is that we have this warped sense of national duty because it's not instilled in us. Our talents are made to seem so personal, you know, just to make money and take care of your family with it. That's what it's there for. You know,
we call it struggle for survival.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, talking about legacy, we'll come back to that. But from what you said, you being raised in a political environment from your father and your grandmother's perspective, I look at the way you were brought up, political environment, that's Fela's legacy, and your grandmother, and you saying that as a young person, even the adults, we are all politically conscious.
Yes.
But then, when I look at the whole process, I don't see we've learned any lesson from it. Have you learned any lesson yourself?
Well, we definitely have learned our lessons, but have we taken those lessons to heart? That's a different thing entirely.
Taking it to heart?
Yeah.
Have you taken it to heart yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I have. I understand the dire situation of African people. I mean, it keeps me up many nights, you know. But also, I feel like we also do not take stock of how far we have come as African people. So we always want to downplay the effort of our fathers and our grandfathers and even our great-grandfathers who have made it possible for us to sit down here today and have this interview. People don't understand that as African people in this world, you know, they look at us as, they think we are Indians, you know, or Chinese or South Americans. All these people were at some point invited to the table. You know, we as African people are the only group that were never invited to the table for anything. Everything we achieved within this system, we achieved because somebody paid the ultimate price. Or a group went and fought and died and shed their blood for us to go to school, for us to vote, for us to enter the bus, for us to live in our own homes, for us to have citizenship, for us to be doctors, for us to be lawyers. Every step of our humanity was fought for in this system under imperialism and capitalism. So when we don't remember that, we cannot say, hey, wait till we gain safe. You know, even those that grew up in military regime in this country, having to navigate this, even though it's not the best democracy, you know, but to navigate this democracy, we forget how we lived under the military regime.
And then the politicians have taken over.
Exactly.
No lesson learned. Well, well, then that takes us to 2020 when there was NSAS.
Yes.
And then, of course, obedience last year, 2023. I wonder what's going to come next. Well, you're a young man. I don't know, are you a Gen X, Gen Z, or what are you now?
I don't know.
In fact, you're an old man.
I know, I'm on the bridge to eldership. That's what I'm 41 now, I'll be 42 in like 6 months.
Oh, good.
You know, next year now I'll be 42.
Okay.
So I don't think I'm a young man anymore. I think this is the last 10 years before, you know.
But you're still a youth.
I don't think so, neither. I think this youth world is stretched so much these days, so that men do no longer take responsibility and become adults. For their actions. You know, and they still tie themselves to being youths, 45-year-old youths. You know.
But then in looking at how the so-called youths are responding to situations, they believe that we did not give them a chance. I mean, the interviewer now, as an older person, and my age mates and those after me, they don't believe we gave them a chance to feel the essence of leadership.
Well, I think it's I think it's not even a chance thing. I think even the platforms that we need as young people to engage politically is not there. Yeah, definitely. Young people in Africa are being failed by their elders. You know, it's not because I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be rude or anything. It's just because as young people in Africa, you know, not only are we deceived, they're also playing games on us. You know, like in Nigeria, for example, when you hear politicians and the elders speak about youth, you think that it's because of the youth that Nigeria is not moving forward. But what are the youths doing? The youth are not engaged. But, you know, like as if it's the job of the youth to develop the country.
So it's everybody's fault. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we all have our roles to play, but the thing is that the elders are putting their responsibility on young people, which I feel is wrong. You know, elders are, you know, asking the youth to develop the country, basically, to take responsibility for the country.
Well, how can they take responsibility if they are not given a chance to take
they don't even, what they need is to be given the opportunity to fulfill their best potential. I have not seen any country in this world built or developed by young people. You know, countries
I would like to take you up on that because
we can. But countries are developed by the experience of the old and the energy of the youth.
Okay, I love that.
The adults, the elders have to create the platforms, the vision, you know, and the lessons, and the youth use their energy and their expertise to accomplish it. That is the dance of society.
I didn't know you were this philosophical. Coming to you from a man who is so deeply involved in how to make the world a better place. Let's get back to Afro music.
Yeah.
Great Fela was awesome. But you know his history, and that will interest me a lot, just to tap your brain a little. He studied music in the Royal Society of...
No, at the Trinity College. Trinity College? Yeah.
In the UK?
Yeah.
Okay. Classical music?
I think he studied...
musicology?
No, I think he did jazz music.
Jazz?
Yeah,
Seriously?
I studied jazz, yeah.
Okay. Okay, no wonder I was so adept at it. All right, then he now came to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Before well, I remembered him from Jenkoku, which was one dramatic move from...
That was his first hit song.
Yes.
Fela had 10 albums before he made
Before
a hit
then.
Before he had a hit, he had 10 albums.
Before that, there was Onidodo, Onibonwe, which was more like a high life.
Yeah. There were lots. Adu Join, Key Join, so many tracks like he...
I still love that too.
You know?
But when you look at the graduation from the Fela of old to the Fela that became the rebel I see that in you a lot. You?
Well, I think any African man that experiences the world honestly and is honest with himself, you know, I think as you grow, you become more radical. You know, it is impossible to exist inside this kind of oppression and not just. I think there are two options. Is that you fold or you radicalize. You know, so.
Okay, and you radicalized.
Yeah.
So what of those who are folding?
Ah, well, they are.
I use the word continuous.
Yeah, it's true because I mean that's why they are in people's pockets. You know, because you just fold them like money, and they are in so many people's pockets and can't, you know, say the truth or make the impact that they need to make with the platforms that they have. You know,
I'm the kind of man that you are with the kind of music that you play. Well, I cannot say anymore that you are taking your father's legacy because you're also creating your own options as well.
Yeah.
How do you think the Seun Anikulapo Kuti of today will relate with the Seun Anikulapo Kuti of 10 years ago?
Ah, well, 10 years ago, okay, yes, I still know myself a bit. I'll see a guy that was on the journey of self-rediscovery.
Rediscovery?
Yes, rediscovery. You know, just like my dad too, in his 30s, rediscovered himself in Los Angeles. You know, growing up with my dad, and if anybody has read my dad's book, This of a Life, I mean, you see that in his book, he states also that in as much as his mother was an influence in his life and he loved her, and he never really took her political message to heart because he was just too young. He didn't believe it. You know, many African people don't believe really how sinister this world is to African people. And it's really because they've not gone to live in the center of Europeans or in the center of Americans and really experience this relationship. And many Africans that come home from living in the abroad, you know, they don't want to...
I like the way you use the abroad.
Yeah. They don't want to talk to their people here about what they go through, the racism of, you know, Europeans and the system. They rather come and talk about how African Americans are lazy or how Nigerian jollof is better than Ghana jollof. You know, these are the issues they rather share, but not their true experiences at their workplace, in trains, trying to navigate in airports and the racism of these societies. And my father experiencing that in Los Angeles radicalized him greatly. And me too, as a young musician, beginning to tour with my band at 24, and touring the world. That was when I started realizing, oh, this is what my dad was talking about. Oh, this is how the world really is. And
then we look at the fact that Seun Anikulapo Kuti is not just one of many, okay? You are an enigma of sort, but you also belong to the rebellious three, Sheni, Femi, Seun. Why do I call them? Well, that's my coinage, by the way, rebellious three. Not because they are rebels of any, but that they stand by what they believe in. And that's what I see from you.
Well, you know, one of the issues we have in Nigeria is that a lot of us are still stuck on right and wrong. You know, I want to be right, oh, you are wrong, and things like that. But our situation here is life and death. You know, and that's what I try to make people understand. Like, I'm not trying to be right, I'm not trying to be wrong. Like, many of our politicians feel they're making the right decisions. You know, can you blame them if they're making the right decisions? Or I don't know, but what I know is that whatever decision they're making is leading to the death of millions of people. You know, we're not talking thousands, we're not talking tens of thousands. In a year, millions of Nigerians die on avoidable deaths. Not unavoidable, avoidable deaths. Yeah. So I'm not saying people can't die. Human beings are made to die. That's the one thing that, as soon as you are born, the one thing that you are sure is that it's going to happen next is that at some point you're going to die. You know, so we're not talking about that. We're saying deaths that could be avoided, meaning people could still be alive, families could still have their loved ones, people could still go on to achieve great things. You know, there are no regulations for any of these corporations and the way they practice their business here. It's a free-for-all. With African life, the price to pay for this free-for-all, for some people to put money in their pocket. Billionaires with trucks that don't have brakes on the road. Nobody can talk to them, nobody can bring them to book. Their trucks exploding, killing people, running into children in bus stops, no regulation, no justice for that, no kind of ramification for the action. You know, the oil companies polluting the entire Southwest, nothing, our healthcare system, people cannot afford medicines, they die. Doctors don't take patients except they can afford it. These same doctors have sworn the Hippocratic oath, you know. They watch Africans, their fellow brothers, bleed to death in their lobbies. My band leader on New Year's Day lost his life New Year's Day in 2021. Yes. No, 2020. Because no hospital would take him.
And he was bleeding?
No, he was sick.
Okay.
I think it was COVID. Well, it was 2019 December. This was the beginning of COVID. One of the first people, but nobody knew. But he was sick. Took him to this hospital. They didn't take him there. Take him to this hospital. Doctors send him away in the middle of the night. Oh, we can't take him. Oh, we can't take him. Who does that? Even if you cannot treat. So I'm just saying, the warped, you know, way that we see the world from right and wrong here, instead of to understand our situation is a matter of life and death, and then act accordingly, you know. Sometimes you can even make the wrong decision because you want to save a life. You know, the wrong moral decision, as they say. You know. But me, I don't care about that anymore because I understand our situation is life and death. So I'm not really hung up on who is right or wrong.
There's a big problem here because if you actually, first you mentioned the Hippocratic Oath, and you're the third person referring to that. One was Dr. Scott Emwakbo. The second, of course, was Dr. Mrs. Boyo Ekweme. Now you are saying it. Then you now gave a chronology of how you lost your band leader?
Yes.
What do you expect the society to, I mean, the policymakers to give to the society? And what do you expect the societies to do as a result?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is the policymakers, yeah, because we have to understand that the buck stops at their table. I'm doing a series on my Instagram now called Organized Abandonment, because I realized that the policymakers of this country, the politicians and the business elites, they sit down and every time they come to a impasse in making a decision, they all accept that, oh, the people should pay the price. The people should pay the price.
But they belong to the people.
No, they don't.
They don't feel they belong.
No, not really, because when you are class conscious, you know, class consciousness is something that we also need in this country. You understand that the elites are removed from the people because their interest antagonizes the existence of the people. For them, their interest and the interest of the people do not align in any way, shape, and form. We, the people, are not our elites. They are, you know, I mean, in any way, I mean, look at the life, what they push, what they believe in. These are the people that sell food that people cannot afford. You give them subsidy, they steal it and put the people in hardship. They seize all the land and build houses nobody can afford. You know, so these are people that are not with their people. If they were with their people, our children will be able to go to school.
In the same environment as theirs.
It doesn't even have to be the same environment as theirs, but their taxes will fund the public schools in a way that our children will be able to go there and have a good education, even though it is not their own private school. I mean, not everybody is attending Eton College in England, yeah, but it doesn't mean that the people of England are not going to good schools just because they are not attending Eton with the royals and the super rich, you know. So that's, I mean, there's a public school right down my street here. I could never put my daughter there. You know, why? But why not? Why shouldn't we be able to do that? Why shouldn't we be able to access good social services? So the policymakers in this country are, you know, are not aligned with their people. You know, they are aligned with their own class and personal interests. You know, and that kind of trickles down. Because whether we like it or not, you know, the people look up to their government. We look up to the elites of society. And if the people see that the elites don't care, they too become selfish and do not care. You know, regardless of whatever excuse that they give us, tribalism, you know, is the biggest one. Oh, these Nigerians can't work together because they are tribalists. You know, but these same people employ these Nigerians in their company, in their banks. Nigerians work in their banks, Hausa, Yoruba, all tribes, and their banks turn a profit every year. You know, we work in all their businesses, and we turn them huge profits in their food business, in their cement business, in their oil business. all Nigerians work there from all tribes, and these people are billionaires. But when it comes to making our country work, suddenly they pull out their ethnic card. I am Yoruba, I am this one, I am that one, to make sure that they have all sorts of excuse not to participate in the development of their own country. And these are the people in charge of the resources of the Commonwealth.
And therefore, they do not feel responsible to the people they serve.
Yeah.
Again, I hate to bring it up, but National Assembly is one major question. You know, we are told from research and maybe subject to confirmation that our National Assembly is the highest paid in the world. Now, the people, from the way you have given this analogy, the people they serve or they're supposed to represent don't feel their presence. So what should we do? What should the people do?
As I said, your question is a good question to project what I mean by this class consciousness that we lack. So, as our National Assembly are the highest paid, we must also remember that our telecommunications company charges the highest per capita for internet in the world.
In the world? Ooh.
The petroleum sellers charges the highest petrol per capita. If you check the minimum wage and the amount a liter of petrol costs in relation to the minimum wage, we are probably paying some of the highest percentage per capita in the world for petrol. For food as well. For housing as well. I mean, where else do you go in this world that they ask you to pay 2 years in advance rent? No. Tell me, if they are hell-bent on promoting African homelessness, what kind of elite tell their people to pay 2 years rent in advance? Where does that happen? In this whole world. So there's a peculiarity about the elites of Nigeria that is sinister on a level that I hope that the people do not really want to pay them for, because then it becomes then we have a situation of anarchy, which is what I don't want. You know, because no matter what it is, we must have organized development. Whatever resistance we are going to project to this system will be organized so that our country does not fall into anarchy and we go from fry pan to fire, which is what they are pushing for.
Should anybody in his right senses push for that?
They want that because, you know, Nigeria is a crime scene. All the elites of this country, the politicians, all these so-called ethnic jingoists and national dividers that want Nigeria to separate without any plan. You know, like, imagine Yoruba people saying they want to separate from Nigeria, and the Yoruba elders have not come up with a good food security plan. Yorubas don't even know where their food will come from. They want a nation, but they've not sat down. The elders have not sat down to discuss food security for that nation. Okay, when do we stop importing pepper from the north and tomato? Because Yoruba people love to eat pepper and tomato. So if you are not making sure that they're self-sufficient in it, you want to antagonize the northerners and then fight them and break off. So, okay, fine. The northerners now impose custom duty on their pepper, impose all sorts of tax on their pepper. Before you ship it from the northern Nigeria, there used to be one country, now you have to pay one huge tax. Now, poor people that could not afford this thing before as Yoruba, now they cannot even afford it more. Now even less people can eat the pepper. Now there's war in the land. Now we have to fight the Hausas. Or go back now in our new nation to the IMF, cap in hand, to borrow money, to enslave our new nation.
Our lifetime pain.
Now just to go and buy pepper from northerners. You see the way these people think, you know. So it is this their lack of real connection. These people want to destroy Nigeria. It's their plan. Nigeria is a crime scene. If Nigeria becomes like Somalia, like the Congo, it is the best for them, because now nobody will ever question them for their crimes. You understand? So this is the game. When I look at everything happening in Nigeria, the way our politicians talk, the way our elites move, the way they oppress the poor with their ostentatious lifestyles, you know, that they've made sure that these people can never attain. You know, you frustrate them 24 hours. You know, not only do you frustrate them by putting it in their face, you also make them know that they are little. You know, which is even the worst. You make them feel so little, make them feel like they are nothing without it. You know.
But the people still have a say. If going by what's going on in Kenya is anything to go by.
Yes, I mean,
I would expect that Nigerians, especially the youths, should be able to have a say.
But we've done that in NSAS. The Kenyans are just doing that now, and
well, the government is really responding to them.
The government responded here. They opened all sorts of panels.
Buying time. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they would do. The youth are making the same mistake that I told us we were making in 2020 here. They were protesting, but they were not organized. There's no political organization to trap the energy of that protest. See, in 2012, I made that mistake too. And I protested against Jonathan's subsidy. My eye was just opening to the IMF. Oh my God, we cannot allow this. But, well, I would say I wasn't that blind or naive, because I called all the young people that were part of that protest in 2012. We had a meeting in my mentor's house in GRA, and I said to them, let us organize ourselves politically and take this country. This is the chance. If we are a political entity, we can use this protest to at least shake the people in power. I didn't know that I was talking to sellouts that had all gone to collect money from politicians. Not only me for that meeting, never collect money. They were all looking at me like I was a fool. You know, me, I was wondering, why these people not interested? I didn't know that. Anyway, but the mistake is we do this and we allow the annoyed, the excluded oppressors to grab the energy. So even among the elites, there's division. You understand? It's not as if they are all united. So there are some of them that are not in the place to chop. They are angry. They want to be in the place to chop. Then you now do protest. They will definitely come and join your protest.
Keep this energy. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. Well, I just want to get back to the energy that I stopped, Seun Kuti from, Seun Anikulapo Kuti. I have to always remember that.
Yes.
I stopped him from that energy. But can we get back to that energy?
Yeah, I mean,
the truth is, somebody watching this program will now go and say, Seun Kuti has started again. That's how the energy will soon dissipate. Will it?
No. I mean, it's not an energy thing. It's a mission. I've dedicated myself to something. One of the things that people say, what will it change? What will it change? What it will change is that you did something. That's all. The only thing we can all say is that we tried, we did something. And if everybody had that mindset that at least I'm doing something, trust me, things will change.
Yeah, but there's that fear. I don't know, fear of the unknown is happening to us. We live in denial a lot. And I don't know why. So what do you think should be done to hold policymakers to account, and then anybody who flouts the law, whether it's policymaker or follower or whatever, should also be held accountable? The rule of law is not moving here. It's not working, it appears.
But the law, what is the law here? I mean, we have some European canonized Western or Sharia law, but is it about justice? Is there any justice in that law? Because we have to understand, as African people, we existed for thousands of years without lawyers. But everybody knew the law, because the law was tied directly to justice. Today, the law is tied to what is legal.
Can you differentiate them?
Yes, justice goes along the lines of natural law.
Okay.
It's not even really an eye for an eye. Africans are not like that. An eye for an eye is a Jewish desert people ideology. When you live in that kind of harsh environment, I can understand the law of an eye for an eye as justice. But Africans, we built our law systems around what was truly natural justice, that allowed for brother and stranger to merge as one, to have dignity. I say to people all the time, like, the number one right of every African is to own land. That's one thing we...
True.
Okay, so African law, that's where it starts from. That's the basis, the foundation of African law, is that every African owns a piece of Africa. So we don't even have that anymore. You understand? The law we practice now actually alienates us from our land. Tells us the reason why we cannot own the land. tells us the reason why we cannot enter this place, we cannot go to this place, we cannot do this thing in our land, we cannot use our oil. We have to ask somebody to get a license, to pass through this legal means, to use that which is ours already, but that other people are using for their benefit, with the help of our elites.
This is so solidly put, and yet so intimidating me, actually.
Our situation is complex as it is simple. The simple part is that Africans need to engage with Africa. The complexity is that...
But the Africans are not engaging with Africans.
But it sounds simple, but you know, this is the issue of the escapism. You were saying it before, like, the issue is not just that people are jackpine. Those that cannot move, they give them television and music and TikTok and to help them escape on the spot, you know. And those that are drug addicts escaping, you know, because of the situation of the country. Our elites themselves are the biggest of the escapists, you know, because they know that their true mission that they have betrayed. So they are, forget the nation. These men know that they are traitors to themselves. That they are betraying themselves. That is why they try as much as possible to always negotiate their failure. So where they cannot bring development due to their weakness, I have to say, their cowardice, they bring modernization. You know, so allow the workers that work for them to have TV, so we can have some modern new things. So
there is a kind of distraction, actually.
Yes, but then there's no real development.
No.
You understand? You go to the islands, all these flashy buildings everywhere at night, all the nightclub lights like Europe and America. We have all the lights, we have all those things that they have, all the modern things you can buy. But do we have a steel mill to produce steel rods to build that building?
Well, we had a steel mill, not one, not two, but three.
Exactly.
That never got off the ground.
Exactly. Just like we have refineries.
Ajaokuta, Alaja, Oshogbo, they were all still rolling mills.
Yeah.
But they never got off the ground.
Yeah.
And nobody gave account
of why. Every government comes and uses that Ajaokuta to siphon billions, and it's still the same. They don't do anything about it.
So, back to the rule of law. That law, will it ever be tenable?
Yes, yes. Because me, I believe in the African people. And I believe in the African people's, you know, cultural strength. That our culture always has been what has protected us, what has kept us, what has not allowed us to become the Native Americans. Because Africans, actually, they don't teach us, Africans don't know the world. Our education system is so weak, you know. If only we knew the world, we would know how strong and lucky we are to have this culture and how it has saved us from everything we have experienced when we compare ourselves to those who have encountered what we have encountered. Go to North America. North America, people think is European continent. You look at North America, you look at Canada, you look at America, you think, oh, white man country. You forget that it was populated by Native Americans that have been exterminated today. Less than 3% of their original numbers
Same
exist.
is happening in the Congo. Some of the best resources, natural resources of the world
is there,
come from that same Congo,
but at
Africa.
least the Congo people have not been wiped out. This is the African culture keeping us. We don't understand the strength of it. Go to South America. Is this a white continent? No. Where are the natives? Less than 10% of that continent is the natives. They've been almost eradicated. Go to Australia. Where are the Aborigines of Australia? What has happened to them? If you think that that's not the plan for Africans as well, then you are living in a dream world. Because we can see that these people are still capable of genocide right now. Gaza. You would think because there's television, everybody is watching them, they will not do it. They will do it. They don't care. What is keeping you is that culture that you hate so much, that you are calling juju, that you are calling this, that you are calling that, they are going to their white church to help them insult. You don't understand that they want you to do that to continue to weaken that culture until the time it cannot fight for you anymore. Africans don't know the strength of their culture. Even from 3,000 years ago, when Alexander the Great, when Julius Caesar, when Mark Antony, when all of them came to Egypt, they won the war. but they won the battle, but they lost the war. Why? They all became Egyptians. The culture was too much. It showed they became that which they came to conquer. And that's why Egypt existed for as long as it did, not because it didn't lose wars, it's because of the strength of African culture. Why the settler colony of South Africa, why are the settlers only 14% and not, as in America now, 63% of the population? Is the strength of the culture of the African people in South Africa. You understand? Look at what is going on with us in Northern Africa today. So if you think what is happening in Northern Africa cannot spread down, Africans in Northern Africa, the Africans are almost gone, filled with Arabs. And this is going to happen. If we continue the way we are, that is where we lose. But our culture is so strong that we still have time now. That if we engage, if we start doing what's right, we might make it. But the joke we are joking with ourselves is that we are playing life and death game with right and wrong.
I didn't know you were so deep, you know, so knowledgeable, so cerebral. I'm curious about a bit about your background. You've done a lot of history. You've taken us around the world just like that. Boom. How you do?
Well, I study a lot. My library is up there.
It's good.
Also my background. You know, I was saying to my friends yesterday that nothing comes from nothing. You know, people always say, "Oh, you're only doing this because you're your father's son." If it wasn't for Fela, I tell you that if it wasn't for Fumilayo too, there will not be Fela. You understand? Nothing comes from nothing. You know, Fumilayo himself, Fumilayo is the reason we have who my father is, and people only know my father because he's a musician. You know, if they only knew my
spoke his mind.
Yeah, they knew my uncles as well.
Yeah,
they will see that, you know, there's no
They
difference.
also excelled in their own.
They excelled, and they were
medicine.
also on the side of their people. You know, always. You know, but music makes you popular. So I was just saying, like, Fela was popular with his revolutionary work because of his music, so people knew. But all my uncles were engaged in liberation struggles. I mean, Uncle Beko went to jail more than my dad. In fact, when Fela died, Uncle Beko was in jail.
I remember that.
Yeah, he was in jail. He was serving 15 years under Abacha, gave him 15 years, but Abacha died the third year of the 15-year sentence when they now released Uncle Beko. So, because we are raised in that way to see in the forefront, we are in the forefront of the liberation struggle. Our family has always positioned themselves in the vanguard of the struggle that way. So we, the children that are born in this family, we tend to see the state and the nation in a way that most people don't. You know, from the age of 7, 8, 9, when I begin to get sense, I knew that the Nigerian state had to be evil. When I saw the way they attacked our house, shot at my dad, there was one time they came to our house and literally rained bullets for an hour on our house.
Jeez.
You understand what I'm saying? This is state power. This is, many children will never see that. If you tell them it'll be like a movie, they will think, all right, what is this? So they don't grow up with that consciousness. They don't know how evil the world can be, you know, when wrong people have power. You know, so my father experiencing his mother's struggles, you know, with the Alake and the colonial power and arresting her, beating her up, all those things they did to her, seizing her passports, the different oppressions she had to go through, you know, it must have left a mark on him, even if he didn't react to it as a young man. Because me too, growing up, I just wanted to live normal life. You know, I believed the lie that, you know, to be the best African man, I just had to be able to afford as much European things as possible. You know, the best African man is the African man with the most European things attached to him. You know, so I was in that race. You know, I was living that life. You know, I was about to get mine. You know, but then I encountered it again. I encountered the world again. I encountered the message again. And then, coming from my background, it validated immediately what my father was saying, what my grandmother was saying, my experiences. It suddenly was validated, but because I had something to tie it back to. Most people don't have that, so I don't blame them. That's why we try to let them see.
That fighting spirit is in you from your past. You said it. But then there are other, figures in your background or your mindset, like Che Guevara.
Yeah, that's my second dad.
When I think of him, I also think of you.
Apart
but
from
I
my
don't
dad,
see the relationship.
Apart from my dad, he's the only man I have a picture of him in my house. Because
well, you never met him because you were not born.
No, of course I never met him. I wish I even if I met Che Guevara, I'll be in the jungles of Lagos waging guerrilla warfare against the Nigerian government.
Somebody said they should have just said Che Guerrilla instead of Guevara.
Exactly, The man was an amazing man, in terms of his own world outlook and his selflessness. I mean, the man came to fight in Congo. So...
Was that where he was caught? Because
no.
Nobody seemed to have found it thereafter.
No, from Congo he was caught and killed in Bolivia. He went back to fight in Bolivia.
Okay.
To join the armed struggle there. Because he was disappointed with Kabila's struggle in the Congo. He believed that the Congo rebellion against Mobutu was tied to Lumumba. And if they could remove the imperialists from Congo resources, the imperialists would be weaker, where they were fighting colonialist wars everywhere. So he came, only to find out that Kabila was not even fighting good. You need to read Che Guevara's Congo, his diaries.
Escapades, yes.
He wrote his African diaries. So when he was in Congo, his time, he almost died. He only saw Kabila once in the battlefield. And the day Kabila came, he came on a yacht with babes and alcohol. Che Guevara left 2 weeks later.
Hey.
He came with like 50 of his comrades.
What was it about him that really influenced you in thoughts and action?
Oh no, his selflessness and his commitment to ending imperialism.
The Cuban leader,
Fidel
Castro.
Yes.
They were very close, supposedly. But there's somewhere they said they actually fell apart.
And I think that's CIA propaganda against Fidel. To try and discredit Fidel after the death, to blame his death basically on Fidel Castro. Okay. To say it was Fidel Castro that sold him out. Fidel Castro was definitely no longer interested in the revolution the way Che was interested in a global revolution. Che was interested in a global revolution against capitalism.
Castro was more interested in
Cuban revolution. So when he was done, he told him, I'm done. We have to build Cuba. But Che, as Minister of Justice first and Minister of Finance, he was bored. And maybe not bored, let me say he was agitating still. He was restless because he could still see oppression and
around the world.
So he moved to continue liberating people. So that for me is the epitome of what I want to be, a revolutionary Pan-African politician. So it will definitely not be enough for me to say, oh, we freed Nigeria. If Ghana is still in the throes of capitalism and imperialism, or that Nigerians are doing okay, if the Senegalese, the Sierra Leoneans, the Kenyans, the Ugandans, are still with the boot of the colonial master on their neck in the name of neocolonialism as we experience it today.
Well, we've been on the African terrain, we've been around the world, and I love that. And then, of course, back to Nigeria. The Nigerian leadership has been a very big question, full of criticisms, critiques, and all kinds. What's your take and what's your advice on the kind of leadership we should have and what the followers should do to make things work better for all?
The followers don't need to do anything. In Nigeria and in the world, everything is determined by government policy and on the energy of those in charge of the country. The people want to do right. Just like when
people want to do right.
Yes, they want to, at least majority. If the majority of Nigerians didn't want to do right, do you think we'll be able to live in this country? You won't be able to leave your house now. If even these people that are hungry didn't want to do right, the amount of poor people on Allen alone, they can shut down Allen if they didn't want to do right. That means at the core, people want to do right. You understand? It is because there's no avenue. Like I was saying, like we put too much pressure on young people. I was saying before, like even when they say, "Oh, Nigerian young people are not intellectual. They don't read. They don't want to do this." But where are the libraries? The people with the funds and resources on my street, and I'm not sure about where you live. I'm sure that if you are not living in one little estate that has gates, there's hotel and nightclub where you stay. Every street in Lagos has hotel, nightclub, hotel. It's somebody that is, people that are building it. It's the banks that are bringing out the loans. Before you breathe and open your eye, they've open nightclub, open hotel, open street. But where are the youth centers, the job centers, the training centers? These same people will not invest in human development. You see, they want us to be, what these policymakers must understand is that Nigeria cannot develop based on the profit incentive. You cannot make African people feel like we don't deserve it if you cannot make money from it. We need leadership that makes us feel like we are doing this thing just because you are worthy. We are building these things just because you deserve it. These things that you need to be human beings, these things that you need to live with dignity is what we are here to provide. Not the mindset that they have as new liberals and new colonialists that, oh, they know the country can't afford it to, well, how can we? But they can afford to be flying private jets in a poor country based on public funds. Building $2 billion
apartments.
Vice president block in a poor country. In a poor country, they travel up and down, belly ache, travel out. This one, Buhari spent 8 months straight in UK hospital. Forget hospital B. Our private jet was parked at the airport. Go and check how much it is to park private jet a day. So while they use Nigeria's resources to restore their own dignity,
Nigerians cannot even restore.
They don't say that this is waste, and Nigerians are not making money from the president just staying abroad, flying private jet. All these rich men, the largest, National Assembly largest, all this money they share. They don't say it's waste too. But one time to build school, they'll say, there's no profit. How will they balance the books? That's not development. Development is not investment. You know, they must remove from their mindset the lies that they tell Nigerian people that we need to make our society conducive for foreign investment. That means we are making our society conducive for underdevelopment. Because investment, by the mere definition of the word, means to put little in and take plenty out. No country can develop based on investment. Because if I invest 1 million and I get 1 million, that's bad investment. So an underdeveloped country that somebody comes to put, so you are here, somebody now comes, puts $2 billion to bring you here, then takes 6 billion and bring you down. What's the point of raising me small like this, only to push me further than I was before? So that's what investment is. That's why Nigeria can never develop based on the profit incentive that they are looking for investors.
What do you advise Nigerian leaders to therefore do to think? My mind goes to emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
Exactly. They have to do the work. They have to use African resources, which we have in abundance, for African people, not for business anymore. So that's the main thing, that they have bought into this capitalism idea that has told them that they should use their people for business. Like human ritual, human sacrifice.
There are issues now that are really bothering us. You know, GMO, genetically modified.
So bad. It's not even labeled here. That's the worst part.
And then there's also the whole essence of looking at age of the average African leader. I hear Cameroonian leader is 91 years old.
It's like Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is 80 plus years old. And Trump is coming in, well, wants to come in, is almost 80. So, wait a minute. What's with this age and leadership?
Yeah, because it is not age, and me, I don't care if the president is 100 years old. So far, he's a 100 years old person that knows what he's doing.
That's a good
age
one.
doesn't matter for me who is leading age or no age or anything. The
But
problem we
there are
have is
people
that
already there to do the job.
the problem we have is that it's wicked old people that are ruling the world. If you put young person there too, I mean, Yaya Bello, is he 80 years old?
All right.
Exactly. So, I mean, it is a mindset thing, it's a spirit thing. It's not an age thing. This is why I keep telling young people in Nigeria that, why do you people think if they put you, because you are young in power, you just go there and you do everything right? Gowon was how old? He led the country to civil war, scattered the whole country in less than 3 years. Gowon. I mean, nobody puts the blame of this country in his doorstep like we should. You know, the shenanigans he pulled in this country, that man. You know, then went to go and stay in his girlfriend's house in England. Why the country, they did coup to remove him in Nigeria. He was chilling in the UK. Wasn't in UK, he was going to school. We have seen this in this country, I'm telling you. Anyway, so our business and political elites, they are in a dangerous marriage, you know, where a toxic marriage where the children are not catered for, the people are not catered for, are not cared for, you know, and then they throw some charity at us. I want them to thank, they're like fathers that when they do something for their children, they want to take praise for it. You pay your child school fees, then you call family meeting. I've paid my child school fees, so come and praise me for paying my child school fees. You know, so that mindset has to go, you know, and if they cannot, this is where I am saying we the people must organize, because there's no pressure maybe. So if they cannot deliver it, we must find from amongst ourselves a new group of national leaders and business elites and political elites that are willing to do the work.
And carry the nation forward. All right, one last word before we sign off. What's your, look at entertainment. Is this one, strangely enough, we didn't even talk about entertainment.
Everything is entertainment.
Well, it depends on what you mean by that. But let's look at entertainment, the evolution of entertainment. Because we've been talking about people in the industry for quite some time. Look at entertainment. Yourself, to me, you are a Generation X, not a Gen Z. You are older than Gen Z, you said. We are the baby boomers. So where do you fit Nigeria in the scheme of entertainment?
Oh, no, I mean, Africa in a whole, not just Nigeria.
Okay.
I think when Nigeria is special, I said this thing one time, and some, you know, all these Nigerians in the diaspora, I love them, but they think they're the best things since sliced bread. I'm telling you. So I was talking about this. Then one of them just jumped and said, it is Nigerians in the diaspora that make it successful. But what I said was this, that, you know, for me, African entertainment is, you know, but Nigeria is at the forefront of this. It is a good thing, but then it's also a sad thing. Because the only reason Nigerians are topping in entertainment and we're doing all this is because our society is the only one in the world. And we found this out by some research, which made me really sad. We are the only society that invests more in entertainment than we do on education.
Really? Some revelation there.
There's more investment in the Nigerian entertainment sector than there is in... We are the only society in the world that puts more money, that there's more money in our entertainment than in our educational sector. So if you look at the amount of money in the educational sector in a year, then I'm not talking about private too. I don't know what's going on, but the public one, that the funds are there for people to see. And what these same entities put into entertainment in a year, there's no comparison. Mm-hmm. So we are blessed with that there's so much resources.
But then, entertainers, entertainment people, they did not take it out from government, they took it out from their own sweat and pockets.
From investment, people are not...
Who are those investing?
The corporations and the government together. Really? Yes, I mean politicians.
Is government investing in Nigeria?
Politicians invest a lot in entertainment, yes.
Okay.
They do.
I mean, from you,
they invest in movies, they invest in, especially when it's campaign time, millions of dollars put into this entertainment side of things. When they're doing any event, I mean, many of them have artists that they are directly sponsoring, you know, that's the politician side. Even in these big corporations, I mean, you know, their ambassadors, you know, where they invest in these artists, millions of dollars. So Nigerian artists don't go on the global stage, you know, cap in hand.
Okay.
You know, they go there with millions of dollars in their pockets, ready to engage the best services of the best PR, the best agents to put up the best shows, because they are coming with serious investment. And now, because that investment is there, Nigerians in the diaspora can connect to this thing. And it's so successful and so big. But the initial investment, you know, comes from our own elites here. You know, and that, for me, is what makes our entertainment industry.
Is that why you're traveling?
Oh, no, that's not why I'm traveling.
Okay.
But I'm on tour. You know, me, I don't have any of this.
Tour?
Yeah. Me, I don't have any of this ambassadorial investments in my life.
But your touring will bring revenue.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic.
I mean, I think as musicians also, this is one thing we do for Nigeria. I think we are able to bring in, you know, foreign exchange that is not coming from central bank. You know, real foreign exchange, not tied to the crude oil of Nigerian people, you know.
How does that affect your general revenue scenario, home, abroad, and everywhere?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, my fan base all over the world is what actually keeps the lights on in this house.
Good.
You know, because we don't get a lot of work here. I don't know why. I know why, but I don't like, because it sounds like you're complaining.
When you said you don't know why, I looked at you again. Then you now said you know why. All right, you want to share it with us?
No, because it sounds like complaining, and I'm not complaining. You know, they can keep their work and whatever. It's fine. I'm still alive.
I love that.
You know, but yeah, we work. My fan base is more international than local, so I have to do a lot of tours every year to have the income I need to survive, basically.
Well, Seun Anikulapo Kuti, thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Always.
Every time I interview you, I get something fresh and new from you. So I don't know how else to. Well, thank you.
We've been doing this dance for 20-something years.
Let's continue. So thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir.
So on that note, well, we have had Seun Anikulapo Kuti on Soni Irabor Live this evening, and I just say thank you. God bless you.